Hi, welcome to Deborah Talks. My name is Deborah Jiboye, and I'll be your host on the weekly series titled Deborah Talks. This week, I will be speaking on the topic Find Your Joy. 2023 began as 2023 began as a year of I don't know how to describe it, but it began as a year where I lost my joy basically, and I remember I would just wake up in the morning and then just begin to cry. I'll feel like crying, and so many times I felt confused because it was a strange emotion to me. Over the years I had had this happy life, even though everything wasn't going as I planned, but I never had the sort of unhappiness I had from the beginning of the year. If I decide to trace back how this happened, I think I'm going to go back to the end of the year. Towards the end of the year, I felt so overwhelmed with work, with everything. It became as if I was full of everything. So it got to a point where instead of expressing how I felt, the best way to express my stress was through tears. Towards the end of last year, that in December precisely, I had to go for series of events. I went for retreats back to back. And one way expect that, I've gotten so much spiritual fire, so it should be able to sustain me. But I realized that when it came to the 31st of December, after I had had this retreat stretch, I was tired. I was tired of hearing the word. I was tired of being in a place about scriptures. And I realized that I had gotten to a place of spiritual fatigue. It was strange because here am I just, rededicated my life to God. I just told him this is what I'm going to do for you and all of that. And a day after, I am then tired of just being where they were. But then I had to, do I say, encourage myself in the Lord now, or I had to depend on the Holy Spirit, you know, I just knew because I really did not feel like going to church on the 31st of December. But I knew that there was one thing that I needed at that point, and that was the help of the Holy Spirit. So as I spoke to the Holy Spirit about it, he told me to play worship music. I thought, oh, worship music, there are lots of artists I could, listen to. Or Victoria Renzi, Theophilus Sunday, Dunsin Konatana Basi, and all of that. But then he said no, Tiffany Montgomery. And I was like, I know she's a preacher, and she also is a singer. I went on YouTube, I typed her name, and lo and behold, there was a song for her. So that sets me in the mood to, get ready and go to church. I went to church, it was a great service, and it was the New Year's, Happy New Year. But then I realized on the 1st of January, instead of being happy and excited about the new year, instead I was sad. And I really couldn't explain, and it stretched for a while. It was as if I had this burden on my shoulders that I couldn't let go of. So every time I had to bear that burden. And like I said earlier, it came to the point where I would just wake up and I'm in tears. I belong to a group page where somebody else wrote about how she wasn't excited about the new year, and I was like, wow, so I'm not the only one. But then in interacting with another of such persons on the group, I realized that what was causing our lack of joy was that there were certain aspects of our lives that we wanted God to attend to, and it looked as if it had dragged. So it was as if hope deferred. And then one thing I like to do for myself is I like to, take. I'm thinking of the right word to use. I like to take into account what I am feeling. I like to understand what exactly it is I am feeling.